Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. I'm your host, Clay Douglas. Being blocked on a number of channels. Obviously, we've got some trolls with a little bit of power there, and they're showing it. All right. My guest today is John Kaminski. Hello, John. How are you? I guess those Jewish censors are at work on the internet today, and they sure don't like me, you and I, talking to each other, do they?
Well, I always consider it a compliment, but it is a pain in the butt, no question about that.
Well, we are doing, obviously we're making headway. I've got, you know, there's 13 intelligence agencies that have stated that Israel is the biggest threat to U.S. security out there.
I think it was 16, actually.
16? Okay, I stand corrected. You could be right. But, you know, that's what we've been trying to tell people for a long time. And, you know, it goes back to the Bible and way before that. But you've done a little bit of research on this. I mean, who are these people? Who are these people? Are they the Edomites? I've got a link up on my site now at the top of the site. A woman who interviewed telepathically the alien from Roswell. Now that's up on my Facebook page. All the links are on my site, and actually it's at the top of my my website now. And they've been since that interview took place in 1947. This has been all top secret thing, and they say they're just observing, but I'll have more information on that on Friday from my resident psychic, Friday, Metaphysical Fridays, you know.
Sounds like Jews from outer space to me.
Well, it certainly, they are here to, gather information and DNA.
Oh dear. Well, I think it's just another synonym for the you-know-who's. My focus this morning is very much on the planet. I just opened up a story out of Long Beach, New York, also called the Oceanside section of Queens. 14 days after Hurricane Sandy, there's still no power. Martial law is enforced, and the crimes against the people who are stuck in the cold and dark have now included this whole spate of rapes that are going on there. So I guess the boys from Harlem are moving out onto the island and taking what they can. But again, this Hurricane Sandy deal is a preview of what's about to happen to the rest of the country as the government stages its various false flag disasters.
Well, you know, this Friday I'll be talking at the Truth Seekers meeting. We'll be playing my True Face of FEMA video. First Homeland Security meeting that I filmed, and they told us almost 10 years ago that in case of a natural disaster of significant magnitude, they'd need 400,000 well-trained, organized, disciplined troops to control the American people, and that's what's happening. I mean, now I understand in New York, they're bringing the workers in, you know, the volunteers that are coming there to work, and they're putting them in the FEMA camps.
Yeah, I heard that. I don't know. The most encouraging thing I've heard here recently is, and I don't know if it's a real thing or not, but it certainly sounds good, is where 20 states now have petitions going to secede from the Union. And I think what this tells us is that the course that we need to follow is for the states to throw the feds out of their states. Another indication of that is the passage of new marijuana laws in Washington and Colorado, which the feds have already said they're going to disregard. So if the governors of these states have any cojones, they ought to throw the feds out of their state as lawbreakers. And I don't know if that'll happen, but I think it eventually will happen because everybody's starting to wake up and see that the federal government is not our friend in any instance. They create these disasters, they prolong them, and they prevent their solutions.
Now, the way HARP, we saw on the radar and from satellite view, we saw the HARP go into action. And matter of fact, I just covered all of that in the last half of my show yesterday. The HARP, they're directing these storms, and because of the way this is working, they're using the HARP to heat the atmosphere, to heat the aluminum and everything that's put up there.
Right.
And they're guiding these storms, and they're creating the superstorm. Now, it's interesting that this insider talked about the superstorms, and that's exactly what the news, which is actually the subject of our I've got up on my website of our conversation to do, that everything we're doing here is guided by the, is censored. Everything, all the news you hear, all the news that's being prepared, every television station, every clear channel station out there is censored by Jews. Are they not?
It's true. It's definitely true. What was that?
That's me trying to get on that other channel, but it ain't working. No question.
Yeah. No, they're doing all sorts of monkey wrenching now, and you know, it's amazing we're still online at all. I shouldn't say that, knock on wood, because I think they, being the powers that be, the kosher powers that be, sense that there is a widespread epiphany forming in the minds of most people who see the ineptitude of the federal government, the deliberately failed programs that they have. And, you know, you can't help but ask yourself the question, we're paying all this tax money to these people, and what are they giving back to us? They're not giving anything back to us. They're just assisting in the siphoning of all the money in America toward Israel.
It's not only going to Israel. We are giving foreign aid to about 175 countries. There's only 194 in the world. We're giving foreign aid to them, including China, including Israel, which gets the lion's share. Now, why do we have to support all these other nations? And the only nations that aren't being supported, we've gone in, we've sent our troops in to steal all their gold, to steal all their technology, and there was a tremendous amount of technology that disappeared from Iraq in the museum there. They went in, and they don't want us to know that mankind and that 10,000 years ago people were flying around in Vimanas And they don't want you to know that we could go to the moon and have lunch and be back in time for supper and maybe take a cruise in the Alps, you know, if they have some of these UFOs converted into Harley haulers. I mean, that's what I would do, but...
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all well and good to be sarcastic and crack jokes about this, but there's so many people in trouble now that anybody who's not in trouble and hasn't volunteered to help the people who are in trouble, they have my scorn, because we're all in trouble now, and the cause of it is our robot federal government.
And you know, when you look at the federal government, I mean the legislature and the Congress and the Senate and the Supreme Court are all, if they're not Jewish in name, you know, they're like Biden. They're Christian Zionists, which means they're Jews posing as Christians, right?
There are people who can't think for themselves, it's sure.
And the media. Now, I talked about that. I had McCall on my. I featured. I'm sorry, not McCall.
What was his name?
God, I don't know. I just lost it here. But anyway, he was on my show. He hadn't been able to do the show live because he doesn't get up that early. But well, let me find it here.
Yeah, I don't know who you mean. I haven't checked your list.
I got it up here.
Anyway, while you're looking for that, the most impressive guy I've heard lately is Dane Wavington, who's geoengineering.com.
Ted Pike. I'm sorry, Ted Pike.
Oh, Ted, yeah.
Yeah, he talked about the control of the media, and what I thought was interesting, he started talking about the Patriot media, you know, the RBNs, the Genesis Communication Networks, the Alex Jones, and he said they're controlled too.
Yeah, they sure are. It's all about the money. And, you know, it's like part of me can understand, you know, I remember back in the early days of Rents, he and I talking about this, and I understand the reality of trying to run a media outlet. You have to make your own impulses subservient to the financial realities of the situation, and it takes a lot of money to run these programs. So back then, I believe that it was just common sense and financial reality that you had to temper what you said so you didn't jeopardize your advertising. But I think we're well past that point now, where there are so many outlets who are not afraid to say anything, that those sites who tailor what they say to financial realities are rapidly going to disappear, because everybody is kind of waking up to the hoaxes that they are.
You know, it would be nice if that was happening. I mean, it's been.
What are you thinking?
We've been working on this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to tell people the truth. I mean, and it's been real frustrating. It's been real frustrating. Now, what they have done with this by the demonization is prevent anybody from backing us, to try to prevent anybody from making donations. That's why they're screwing with my show so much here. They don't want anybody helping.
That's right. They're trying to isolate everybody, and if you don't toe the line, it's like all those famous television people like Helen Thomas and Rick Sanchez, who were fired not for anything bad they did, but just for saying something that was other than the party line. The Jews want to keep themselves invisible, and the minute you bring them up, you run into all sorts of opposition from the millions upon millions of Cyanum or Cyanine who are actually paid to call into talk shows to disrupt the talk shows. And we've certainly experienced a lot of them. How's your chat room running this morning, by the way?
Well, let's see. I haven't even, I didn't thank you for reminding me. I need to open up the chat in Blog Talk Radio. So let me get that open. The chat room on Blog TV is, humming with the Sinayim. They're threatening me. We're coming after you. We'll get to tell us where you are. They know where I'm at.
Well, that's why we all should be well armed, so that when they come, we can welcome them appropriately.
They know where I'm at. I mean, they knew where I was at in Arizona. The best they could do is kick me out of the biker bars when they infiltrated that. And they infiltrated the Breakfast Club when I was there. I went there every Saturday, so everybody knew where I'd be. Everybody knew where, and the Jews came in and closed that down. Three of them would sit there in the corner and conspire to try to create a fight.
I know, it's very sad. It's very sad that they're so. But this is a revealing thing that they do, because it means they know that their behavior is criminal, and they have to intimidate people into silence to keep from talking about it. And definitely more and more people are waking up about this. And I said the other day that any news source that doesn't use the word Jew openly is not a reliable news source, because they're covering up the real truth.
Well, you get this. Well, it's not all Jews, and I absolutely agree that the grandmother over there, or the mother over there, the old lady over there that maybe had two sons that became doctors or lawyers, she's not consciously part of it, and the elite hide behind the common Jews, and they'll sacrifice them in a heartbeat. I mean, if they could reach their 6 million number, they'd blow up Jerusalem with an atomic bomb and blame it on just to get that 6 million that they've been looking for a long time.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, and I always, back along the trail, maybe 5-8 years ago, I had this idea that we could kindle a movement among Jews to resist the horrible policies that their elite, that the Jewish elites are following. Needless to say, I didn't get very far in that regard, and all we have today, there are a few exceptions, I think, or I hope that there are a few exceptions, like Stephen Lendman is one, is a great writer, of Jews who are actually candid about what's going on. But by and large, at least in the United States, we have this wall of intimidation that goes on that scares the hell out of people and prevents them from really being candid about what's happening. But to their great surprise, what is really happening is that once people know that they're going to lose everything, which is the case of most Americans right now, then you lose your fear of talking about them. And we desperately need to lose our fear of talking about the Jews, because they completely control not only the federal government, but all the state governments, all the county governments, all the local governments, by virtue of their absolute control of the money system, which is why the most important thing to do now is to change the money system, let the government issue the money, and put all the bankers in jail after we first repossess them of all their property.
Well, it's been tried before, and that's why they killed Kennedy.
Yep. Yep, it sure is.
And that's, how do we do that? I mean, how do we deal with this? Now, all these states coming back, if they really wised up, and but the problem is that you don't know who these people are. They masquerade, and a lot of the people that aren't involved, that aren't part of the conspiracy, the ones that are supposed to be your friends. Yeah, I want to help you, Clayton. I want to help you. and then they as soon as you get around them, they are more contentious and do more damage than your enemies.
That's right. Yeah, once they get inside your circle, they can do some real damage. Kind of reminds me of a lot of women I know.
Well, I won't mention names. I won't mention names, but I mean, it's happened. I mean, again, you don't know. I had a woman come in, hand me a check for $10,000, say she loved me, and but she couldn't shack up with me, and she ended up in my property. I ended up with some money out of it, but it just didn't happen. Nothing happened. No one works. No one wants to do there. Nobody wants to do real, and they're scared to death. They are scared to death that somebody's going to point a finger at them, somebody's going to call them anti-Semitic, somebody's going to call them racist, somebody's going to call them a hippie, And I think the most encouraging news, you brought it up, the most encouraging news that I've heard, not the election, and frankly, I don't. It doesn't make any difference when you've got the choice of Romney and Obama. Obama might be the best choice. He may not be kissing the Jews' ass as much as Romney is. I mean, every one of Romney's Clear Channel people are Mossad.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go that far with Obama, and as so many people have pointed out, the lesser of two evils is still evil.
But if Gary Johnson, I've said, if Gary Johnson got in, we would have a, we'd legalize marijuana here, we'd start growing hemp again, and that would be restore the economy. $1 billion crop that was stolen from us in the 30s by the media. William Randolph Hearst demonized the marijuana, tried to blame it on the blacks, tried to blame it on the musicians. Oh, they're going to rape women, huh?
Well, that seems to be taking place despite their best efforts, judging by the votes in Colorado and Washington. I mean, it's completely foolish to bust people for selling pot when our elected officials are stealing millions of dollars with their inflated pensions and all of these corrupt things that are going on. And it's true of every government in America, and that really correlates to the apparent blindness that American people seem to have about the behavior of their own government, and that is most vividly demonstrated by the fact that when we're going around the world killing millions of people over lies, over completely confabulated stories about this terror threat or that terror threat, when in reality the terror threats are actually employed by the same government that's fighting them. This is a tremendous hoax that has been played upon the world and continues to assault us now. But the situation in New York is well out of hand, and I advise everyone within hearing distance of this that the situation on Long Island and in New Jersey and other places around New York City where people haven't eaten or been warmed for 2 weeks now, with no help in sight, no gasoline, roving gangs, really killing and robbing who they want to, with no redress by the police or any kind of law enforcement. In fact, at this point, law enforcement are the criminals. We got to wake up to that, and we must decommission the governments that we have, because the governments that we have are not working for our benefit. They're working. It's like the police don't protect the people. The police protect the vested interests who are paying their salaries. And this is a really sad situation. Well, this is already anarchy in this country, because you can't trust the people who are supposed to protect you, and those same people are really the ones who are trying to kill you. And if that sounds harsh, you only have to look at what's going on Long Island right now.
All right. It's a wonder. It's all of these trolls on the internet. I mean, they are so foul-mouthed. They are so they reek of evil, and you can all, I swear they're all Jews that are doing this. It has to be. I mean, there can't be that many dumb white men, you know.
Well, I'm sure there are, but I don't know. You know, I mean, it's a very popular idea to pick on the white man. It's like the Jews have encouraged that for a long time because they want to usurp the position of the white man and be the top dogs. But one of the things that really disturbed me about the aftermath of this so-called election that we had the other day was this Mexican guy, well-dressed, either from California or Arizona, who was interviewed on television and said, now that Obama has been re-elected, we can really, he didn't use these words, but this was his sentiment, we can really wreak vengeance on the white people of California who have oppressed us. And when I heard that, I thought to myself, wait a minute. Here we have a person that has been allowed to come into this country and reap the benefits of being here, get all this free stuff from the government, while people who deserve the free stuff from the government are left out. I'm talking about all us folks on Social Security, because illegal aliens get more Social Security than I do, and I paid into Social Security all my life, but the illegal aliens get more than I do. That is a Jewish communist destabilization technique that is really everybody's suffering from that. And I thought to myself about this guy, what kind of person is given a great gift and nurtured to recuperate from the supposed suffering he experienced in his previous dictator-run country, and comes to this country, and his gratitude for receiving that gift is to try to kill the people who gave it to him. And it reminded me very much of the turn-of-the-century influx of Jews from Eastern Europe and Russia who fabricated all these false stories about persecution by the Tsar, and due to corrupt politicians in the United States were allowed into the country, and their only goal of expressing their gratitude was to overthrow the very people who have helped them. So this is a process that we need to understand, and we need to really get angry about it, and we need to stop coddling people who think they deserve something that they haven't worked for, which is from Obama on down. I mean, this whole illegal alien amnesty, and apparently there's another big amnesty about to take place where they're going to flood the country with even more illegal aliens. What that does is it pollutes it not only destroys our infrastructure and our school systems and our financial budgets of every town in America, but it pollutes the electorate, so that the communist dictators like Obama will continue to get elected, not on the basis of creating a sound structure of a country, but on the basis of the free stuff that they can get. And I mean, it's a sad situation now when retired veterans get less from the federal government in the way of pensions and Social Security and such than people who've only been in the country a few minutes, and many of whom have entered illegally. I mean, this is deliberate sabotage and treason on the part of our elected officials. And I was saying the other day that all of the officials who are appointed in power now, they're all guilty of treason, because they're covering up the 9/11 story. They're covering up the phony nature of all these wars that are killing our children and children around the world. And so needless to say, the country's in a mess. And the number one reason we can't figure it out is because Jews control the media. And there's